Hello, my name is Scott Hembro from Hembro Business Systems, and I want to share some ideas today for salespeople on ways they can make more money selling cars. But first of all, I want to address an issue that's very sensitive to dealers, and it really should be for everyone in the dealership, and that's the topic of owner retention. Now, salespeople, before you think that that has nothing to do with you, I want you to sit back and just hold tight. But Mr. Dealer, for some time now, the hot topic has been owner retention, and it should be because the latest NADA statistics state that owner retention, meaning after vehicles are out of warranty, it's somewhere in the range of 40 to 45%, which means that 50 to 55% of the people that when their vehicle runs out of warranty, they're going to go to an independent garage, they're going to go to another dealership, but they're going to go somewhere other than your store. Now, if you take that and you tie that into another NADA statistic, and that is that if the customer is servicing their vehicle at your store, the chances are 70 to 75% of the time they'll purchase from you. However, if they're not getting their vehicle purchased at your dealership, that drops down to between 35 and 40%. So it's very important to the dealership, but Mr. Salesperson, that's very important to you, because if you keep your customers coming back, to the people that you've sold coming back to your dealership, it goes from 35% up to 75% that you're creating repeat business. Now, today we're specifically going to talk about orphan owners. Now, these are people that purchase from the dealership. So they like the dealership, they like the vehicle, they like the price, and at that time they like the salesperson. But for right now, that salesperson is gone. That's where the term orphan owner comes up. They have no salesperson taking care of them. Now, here's a problem that goes on in many, many stores. They'll take and they'll have a turnover situation. So they'll hire new people. They'll bring a new salesperson in, and they want to give them a jump start. They'll just give them a bunch of orphan owner names. Person calls, doesn't really understand how to do it. 2 or 3 months down the road, they leave, so they reassign them to another person, and you just get this constant bombardment on orphan owners from salespeople that have not been trained, have not been taught how to really take care of these people, just constantly badgering them, and that really creates a problem right there. So before you do get into making any calls, you want to take a look in the comments and see if there's been any contact made prior to you or attempt. So, what's the value to you, Mr. Salesperson, to reach out and contact these strangers or these orphan owners? Well, here's some very simple ones. Floor traffic, whether it be phone, whether it be floor, people that just walk in the door or phone in, or maybe even internet leads. Those have a closing ratio somewhere between 20 and 30%. However, self-generated business has a closing ratio between 60 and 75%. So there's a pretty good motivator right there to keep in touch with these people and try to do business as have already done business with your store. But first of all, let's review the call guide or a script or whatever you want to call it. But you need some sort of an outline, some sort of a guide in front of you rather than just winging it. So, the recommended call from myself and many others goes something like this. Salesperson: hi, is this Mr. Jones? Yes, it is. Mr. Jones, I hope I'm not interrupting anything. My name is Scott Hembro, and I'm calling you from ABC Motors. Well, the reason why I'm calling is that the salesperson that had sold you your 2015 Camry is no longer with the dealership, and because your business is so important to Mr. Jones owner and to myself, I wanted to call and introduce myself and let you know that I'm going to be here. I'm going to be happy to help you out with anything you should need, any help with here at the dealership. Now, do you still have the 2015 Camry? Has that been a pretty good vehicle for you? Is there anything I can do at this time to help you out with the Camry? Nice, soft. The one thing you really want to have is a very positive, upbeat, professional tonality at the very beginning, because you want this person to feel the confidence in your voice and the professionalism in your voice. Now's where we reach in to take it to the next level. Let me ask you this if I could. Sounds like you're pretty well set with the Camry. Is that the only vehicle in your household? What are the other vehicles? Who are the other drivers? Match all the drivers up to the vehicle. Mr. Jones, of all the drivers in the household, who's most likely to be in the market next? Why do you say them? What with? Bigger, smaller, shorter, longer, things like that. And then, you can always go for it. Well, it's too bad they're not in the market now. Well, why would you say that? Well, because I just happen to think of one that great value, blah, 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 things like that. Now, next would be, may I ask you a small favor before I let you go? Most of the business that I do comes from either repeats from satisfied customers or from referrals, people just like yourself. Who do you know? And then you make suggestions. Maybe a friend or a relative, maybe a neighbor, someone you work with, that may be in the market for a new or used car or truck. And then, follow through with referral. But you always want to end the call by taking what they call the curse off of the call. You don't want to end by asking for a referral. You don't want to end the prospecting household. Wherever you are, whether you're ending on, whether you're at prospecting households or whether you've moved on to asking for referrals, that's okay. That's not what I called for. The reason why I called was to let you know that there is someone here at the dealership that's going to be happy to help you with any and all of your transportation needs. So please don't hesitate to call me. Remember, my name is Scott Hembro, and I'll be in touch from time to time. By the way, would it be okay if I either texted you or emailed you my contact information? Which would be best for you? And again, thank you for talking. Have a great day. So, let's stop for a second and let's just go through the call and let's review it. First of all, we're going to have a very soft intro, making certain that it's them, making certain that you're not interrupting anything. From there, make certain that they still have the vehicle before we go through any speeches, because that can get a little embarrassing if we keep on talking about it and they don't even have it anymore. Then, softly talk about their vehicle. Has it been a pretty good vehicle for them? Very softly go ahead and ask if they, any help they need at this time. Win them over a little bit. Do a little chit-chat, a little small talk in there. And then let them know, for certain that you're there to help them. Now for the best part of the call. This is where we're going to prospect households. And if you've been in any of my classes, I try to cover this topic all the time, and I go through all the people in the classes, and I keep on asking them how many vehicles, and it always comes up with the same answer, 2.5. Now, one class might have 2.7, the other one might have 2.5, but it always works out that the average household has 2.5 vehicles in it. Now, let's just do some math. If you're a salesperson and you sell 10 cars a month, that's the average that a salesperson, sells on an average month. That's 120 cars that you sold, nationally. Now, if we take that 2.5 vehicles, that's 120, and 60. That's 300 vehicles that those people own. Now, let's assume that, they replace the new car every 3 to 4 years, which is pretty much the standard. Or they replace a used car every 4 to 5 years. That's the national average. That means that they're going to replace the entire 300 units over a 4-year period of time. Now, if you take your 300 and you divide it by 4, that's 75 vehicles are going to be replaced every single year. Year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, which works out to 6 to 7 a month. Every single month. But the challenge is you don't know all the vehicles. You don't know all the drivers. And especially you don't know which vehicle is going to be replaced next. And we're leaving it to chance that they're going to come back to our dealership, that they're going to come back to you. And the smarter, better, more professional way is to know all the vehicles, all the drivers, and which one's next. So make this part of your orphan owner call. Make this part of your follow-up call. I mean, the mistake salespeople make, in my opinion, is we follow up on metal. We don't follow up on households. Now, finally, whether you continue on and ask for a referral at this point in time, you got to go with the tonalities of the call and how warm they are at sharing information with you. Personally, I like to make the call and prospect the household. Then when I call back a week later, 2 weeks later, 30 days later, whichever I feel that, the proper timing for this one, that's when I'll usually go into asking for a call. But regardless, you want to end the call by reminding them that you just called to introduce yourself and let them know that you're there to help them. So as I bring this to a close, retention. When people are servicing their vehicle at your dealership, 73% of the time they'll repurchase from you. And that's the reason orphan owners are worth so much to you as a salesperson. Because 3/4 of the time they're going to come back and buy another one. So you want to build the relationship with them. They've already bought a car there. We've got all the information from them. All you have to do is step in and be courteous and kind and helpful and serving and just constantly be building your owner base. As a salesperson, that's one of our key things that we need to be doing. Constantly be building our owner base. And 2 owners, 3 owners is building the owner base. So introduce yourself to the orphan owner calls when you speak to them and the previous customers. Begin prospecting households. Follow up on these household opportunities, not just metal. So this is Scott Hembrow, and I thank you for viewing this and listening to this, and I wish you the best of luck, and stay tuned for more topics to come.